we are gathered together today on a sad but proud occasion. Michael Wentworth was born here among us. He grew up among us. As a boy, we loved him. As a man, we respected him. And so we are met today to do honor to the memory of Michael Wentworth. The memory of a good man.
Memory of Michael. 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 Till death us do part.
Captain Michael Wentworth, 26,208. Alderman Joseph Carr. Major Wentworth.
You'll ruin your eyes if we don't stop reading and come to bed.
Say it again, darling.
You always say that.
I know, but I never get tired of it.
Come back safe.
We shall always think with pride of him and of the men who died with him. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Morning, Nanny.
Morning, Tom.
Well, they still come, don't they?
Yes, they still come.
A sad loss, that's what it is, a sad loss. Men like the Colonel don't grow on bushes every day, and that's a fact.
No.
Well, there you are. That's the lot. Do you know what I say?
No?
Nothing will ever be the same again after this war, that's what I say. You mark my words, nothing will ever be the same again, and that's a fact.
Yes, I think perhaps you're right. Here's the post, madam. Thank you, Nanny. No, put them there, please, will you?
Wouldn't you like me to move some of those things? You can't work comfortably like that.
No, thank you, Nanny.
It wouldn't take a minute.
No, I don't want anything moved, thank you.
There. Oh, about the Colonel's clothes and things. Effie and I are doing out the room today. If you would like me to pack them away.
No, I tell you. I don't want anything altered or moved. I want everything left exactly as it was when he was here.
They are. They ought to make your hair curl.
Don't want my hair to curl, thank you. I like it the way it is.
Some folk can get to like anything.
No need to be saucy.
How is she?
Taking it hard, Nanny says.
Some do and some don't. Now, my old dad, he's been quite bobbity since Ma died. Said he feels a new man.
You ought to be ashamed.
Oh, I don't know. When you've lived with anyone 62 years, you're ready for the change. Besides, you didn't know Ma.
Good morning, Mr. Ames.
Morning. Did you get to asking her about planting the vegetables?
She's in no condition to be worried about vegetables. You'd better do as you think best.
Taking it hard, eh?
Yes.
Some do and some don't. You should see my dad, chirpy as a cricket. You won't see him crying.
You don't see her crying either. That's the trouble. I really wish she would. Robin, what are you doing? Oh, my goodness, the lamp. And your father's rod. I hope you haven't broken that too, have you?
No.
Well, put it away quickly before Mummy comes. I don't know what she'd say if she knew.
If Daddy's dead, why shouldn't I have his rod? Robin, put that down at once. Remember that in future none of your father's things are to be touched. But do as I say.
Oh, I'll do it. I'm awfully sorry, Mummy.
Darling, that's all right, but you will take care of Daddy's things in future, won't you?
Oh, Miss Diana, I almost forgot. Mr. Llewellyn's waiting outside. Oh, good. Well, he's going into Alcee in the car and wants to know if you'd like to go with him.
Thank you, Nanny. I don't want to go out and I don't want to see anyone. Will you tell him?
Very well.
Never get tired of it, do you? No, I'll play it again for you later on. Oh, Ames wanted to know today whether we should plant potatoes in the blue border. I said no. The amount of potatoes we could grow in one border wouldn't make enough difference to matter. I know how much you love it when it's in bloom. Robin's been fishing with Richard twice. Oh, Richard's so good with him. You'd think they were the same age, the way they go on. Oh, Robin wanted to use your rod today. I told him you wouldn't like that. It looks as though they're going to call up Effie. Well, then Nanny and I will just have to manage the house by ourselves. It won't be so bad, really. I can do the beds, and Mrs. Ames is coming in to help with the cleaning. Oh, darling, it's so good to have you back. I began to think you were never coming. The days seem so long when you're away. I grow so tired of waiting. It's all right now you're here. Nanny, what do you want?
I thought I heard voices. Someone moving about.
No. There's nobody here but me. Hadn't you better go back to bed?
Yes, Miss Diana. And won't you come up too?
It's the use. I can't sleep.
But you must rest.
I can't rest, I tell you.
Oh, you'll sleep all right if you take one of your tablets. I'll get you one.
No.
Why, Miss Dinah, the bottle is empty.
I know.
But there were 7 or 8 in it on Monday. I happened to notice.
What of it?
Well, nothing.
Then go back to bed, Nanny, and leave me alone.
Won't you please let
Leave
me
me alone, I tell you. Leave me alone!
That's just what I mustn't do. You know you've got to take hold of yourself or you'll be ill.
I'm perfectly all right.
You're not all right. I know it's a hard thing to say, but you've got to get used to the idea that the Colonel's dead. It's no good pretending. All the pretending in the world won't bring him back again. You've got to make up your mind to that and start a new life without him.
Goodbye, Nan. Bye, Robin.
Load and finish.
Mr. Llewellyn.
Hello, Nanny.
Mr. Llewellyn, I had to come. You're the only one I can talk to.
Is it Mrs. Wentworth?
Yes, I'm frightened.
Frightened.
She's going to have a breakdown, or worse if something doesn't happen soon. She doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep. She goes on as though he were still alive. Mr. Llewellyn, she even talks to him.
Have you heard a doctor?
Yes, he just told her to rest and relax. You know how doctors are.
Then what?
She's got to have something to do. If she had a job, something that took up all her time, occupied her mind, then she'd be all right.
But, Nanny, that's all very well. What sort of a job?
I know you'll say I'm crazy, but I saw a bit in the paper the other day about an MP who was killed. And they elected his wife in his place.
But Diana doesn't know the first thing about politics.
And she'd be in the same boat as half the other MPs.
Besides, most people still don't like the idea of women in Parliament.
That's only because they're frightened that the women will get on and do things they're afraid to do themselves.
Uh-huh. Where do I come in?
You've got to see that she's nominated.
Well, how on earth do I do that?
Sir Ernest Foster, he's the one to go to.
Nanny, I can't go charging up to town just to see Sir Ernest. I'm in the middle of the harvest.
The harvest can do without you for one day. Mrs. Wentworth can't.
Mr. Llewellyn, I know Diana Wentworth pretty well. She's a very old friend of mine. She's a very charming person, but I'm sure she'll forgive me for saying she knows precious little about politics.
How many people do? Except, of course, experts like yourself.
True, true. Still, if she got into Parliament, she'd have to make some sort of appearance of knowing.
Well, that's all right. Diana's got her head screwed on the right way. In any case, you and the whips tell her exactly what to do, don't you?
Yes, yes. Still, we've got to get her in, you know.
She'll be easy enough, surely. Widow of an MP who died fighting for his country, sponsored by Sir Ernest Foster himself. Very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, there may be something in it. I'll think it over and let you know.
But Mrs. Wentworth knows nothing about politics, nothing at all.
Mr. Atherton, you here at North Alsea may rest assured that we at Central Office didn't agree to support this candidature without due consideration. Mrs. Wentworth, if I may say so, has her head screwed on the right way. She'll learn very quickly, and we shall always be there to teach her anything she doesn't know. And you can depend upon her being a safe party member, just what we want at the moment.
But what if she's opposed?
She won't be. But even if she were, you've a very good line to take. Widow of an MP who died fighting for his country and so on.
Yes, but a lot of people in these parts don't like the idea of women in Parliament.
Oh, come, come, don't tell me anyone's afraid she'll start vamping the Prime Minister.
But, Ernest, that's impossible. I know nothing about politics, nothing at all.
That's exactly
Come now, I don't think that could be quite true, can it? After all, no one could have lived with Michael and worked with him so closely year after year without knowing something about politics.
Maybe. That's an excuse for trying to take over his job.
Besides, as I put it to the committee, you've got your head screwed on the right way. What you didn't know, you'd soon pick up. You'd find the whips and the party organization very helpful.
That's not possible. I couldn't even fight the election.
Sir Ernest thinks you won't have to. He thinks you'll go in unopposed.
Precisely.
No, I couldn't do it.
Diana, why ever not?
Michael wouldn't like it.
Morning, Mrs. Wentworth.
Morning. Anything for me?
Yes, 2 ordinary ones and 5 of them there khaki things.
No more forms to fill up.
Do you know what they're saying down the village?
Oh, what?
They're saying that's how you mean to put up for Parliament and take the Colonel's place.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea?
No, I do not.
Oh,
You know what I say?
no?
Once they let women go gadding around running the country, nothing will ever be the same again. That's what I say. And no offense to you, Mrs. Wentworth, but you mark my words. Nothing will ever be the same again. And that's a fact.
Well, morning, Alice.
Hello.
I'm going to London on Monday. I want you to take me to catch the 11 o'clock.
Yes, Mrs. Wentworth. I'll be up about 10:30.
Fine. Heard from Harry lately?
Yes. He's in North Africa. Probably browned off, too. Thinks I'm letting his precious garage go to rack and ruin.
Well, that's the last thing he need worry about. Remember me to him when you write.
Okay, thanks. That's right, you're putting up for Parliament in the Colonel's place.
Well, they have asked me. Do you think it's a good idea?
Well, I do and I don't. Do some of these stodgy old MPs good to have a few more women there. Ginger 'em up.
But?
Well, I think a woman would need to be awfully tough to make any impression on them. I think you'd be too gentle with them. Right.
Good afternoon. You wanted to see me?
Well, we really came to see Colonel Wentworth.
I'm afraid that isn't possible.
Yes, we didn't know. They only told us when we got here.
You see, we've been evacuated.
We've come all the way from Sanford specially to see him.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do to help?
Well, I hardly know. You see, it's about our small holding. We came to ask his advice about it because he was our MP.
Oh, yes, I see. Please sit down, will you?
He did see us once before. He was always willing to help anybody in trouble. I don't know what we shall do now.
There now. Well, we mustn't worry you with our troubles.
Well, won't you tell me all about it? Perhaps I can help. No, Ernest, I've definitely made up my mind. No doubts at all. All right, goodbye. Nanny, I've got some news for you. Really, Miss Diana? I'm going to stand for Parliament in the Colonel's place.
No. Well, you do surprise me, and no mistake.
New members desirous of taking their seats will now come to the table.
I, Diana Wentworth, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King George, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
Mrs. Wentworth, North Alsea.
The clerk will now proceed to read the orders of the day.
Mrs. Put Mrs. Wentworth's bag in the car, Max.
Mrs. Wentworth?
Thank you.
I'll be round about 7.
Okay, Max. I know what you're thinking.
I wasn't thinking anything, Alice.
Then you're the only one in the whole village who isn't.
Oh, dear, is it as bad as that?
Worse. Look, Mrs. Wentworth, can I ask you something?
Of course you can.
Do you see anything wrong in me going to the pictures or having a drink at the local with a boy like Max?
No, I don't think so.
He's a decent chap. He's got a girl of his own back in Detroit, and there's nothing in it. Nothing. Well, you know what I mean. It kissed me once, but I soon put a stop to that.
Why?
Well, it wouldn't do, would it?
I don't know. I was asking you.
Well, it wouldn't. It's always been Harry with me.
I thought everyone knew that.
Oh, if you listen to some of the spiteful old cats in this village, you wouldn't think so.
Don't let them get you down.
Oh, I won't. I wanted to marry Harry before he went out east, but he wanted to wait. Perhaps he was right, I don't know.
I don't think Harry's got much to worry about.
Not even if I do go out with a Yank occasionally?
No, I don't think so.
It isn't that I feel different about Harry at all. It's just that well, you work all day, and 3 nights a week I'm on duty at the warden's post. The others I just do the books and go to bed. And every now and then I get to thinking, if I don't get out for 5 minutes and talk to someone, I shall go mad.
No girlfriends?
Oh, yes. But it's not the same thing. Every now and then a woman gets so that the sight of another woman makes her sick. And she's got to have a man to talk to. Besides, if Harry can't trust me, I don't want to marry him anyway.
Don't worry, Harry's no fool.
Oh, I wouldn't be so sure. Most men are. Especially when they're away from home.
Hello, Mums. You're awfully late.
I know, darling. Is your old coat better?
Absolutely gone. I mean, Nanny doesn't believe me. Uncle Richard's here.
Oh, Richard, how nice. Richard.
Just dropped in to say Merry Christmas.
Oh, how I hate train journeys in wartime. Robin, you can come and help me get Mummy's tea.
Okay. Were there any bombs turning up in London, Mum?
A few, darling.
The postman says London will never be the same again.
Come along, Algernon.
Dear Diana, look all in. Been overworking again?
I suppose so, but I shan't have to any longer.
Oh? Why not?
I've got a separate friend.
Have you now? Where? Here?
No, she'll work in the flat mostly.
The flat?
Yes, didn't I tell you?
No. Nobody tells me anything anymore.
Well, it's tiny, but it's less than a minute from the house. I really can't keep traveling up and down every day the way the trains are now. Or staying at hotels for weeks on end. You might look as though you were pleased.
Can't expect me to be pleased. Just means we'll see less of you than ever.
No. I shall work down here whenever I can get away.
You know, you've changed.
Have I?
Yes. Amazingly.
Yes, I suppose I must have. I really haven't had time to notice. Oh, there's so much to do and so much to learn. If I'm going to be any good at it. So far, I've been content to keep my ears and eyes open and my mouth shut. Next session, I intend opening my mouth as well.
Well, watch you don't put your foot in it. Sorry.
So I should think.
I think I better be going now.
Oh, must you, Ricky?
Don't change too much, will you?
Why not?
But I was very fond of the old Diana.
You're not so fond of the new one.
That's a leading question. Diana, something I brought you for Christmas.
Ricky, how sweet of you. Can I open it now?
Well, Robin's been told he can't open his till Christmas Day.
Well, I haven't got as much self-control as Robin. Ricky. It's lovely. It'll be wonderful on this.
It'd look much better on a wedding dress. Diana, I don't suppose you would consider marrying me.
Darling, I'm awfully fond of you. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet.
Of course, I don't want to rush you, but I had hoped you would think it was a rather good idea.
No, it wouldn't be right for either of us just now. You see, everything about my life is changing so quickly. I've got a new job, and I don't know nearly enough about it. I feel I want to get out and see people, meet them, talk to them, find out what they're thinking and feeling and what they want out of life. Oh, Ricky, there's so much to do.
Well, at least think it over, will you?
Yes, I will. Thank you for a lovely present.
By the time I got there and back.
Annie.
There's a Sergeant Higgins to see you, madam.
Higgins? I don't know any Sergeant Higgins, do I, Dewey?
No, I don't think so. Shall I go and look in the file?
No, we better get it over with. Show me, Nanny.
Very well, madam. I think no to that, and that, and that, and that one's just plain silly.
Oh, Mr. Bradshaw. Well, dear sir.
Sergeant Higgins, madam.
Why, Effie. I'd hardly recognized you behind all those stripes.
Really, ma'am?
How nice to see you. You'll stay and have lunch, won't you? We can manage one more, can't we, Nanny?
Oh, yes, I think so.
It'd be nice to have some home cooking for a change, won't it?
Oh, I don't know, ma'am. Food in our mob's very good.
Really?
Plain, but beautifully cooked. Effie's a cook instructor now, madam.
I see. We must have a long talk after lunch.
Yes, ma'am.
Come along, Effie. See you later, Effie.
That was Mrs. Hanscom of the WVS. She wants to know what you can do about clothes for the bombed out.
Oh, wait 1 minute.
Nanny!
Yes, madam?
Those clothes of the Colonel's up in his room.
When you have a moment, I want them all turned out. I'm sending them to the WVS.
Everything, madam?
Yes, there's no point to keeping them.
I'll do it directly the sergeant's gone.
Now, where were we? You all know the wrought iron gates at the bottom of the drive here. They're very beautiful and rather valuable. But if North Alsea produces a better result this year than last year, I'll give those gates to the salvage campaign. No woman worth her salt wants to be parted from her babies. But no woman with any sense wants to be saddled with them 24 hours a day. Now, if we can afford to spend thousands on car parks and car park attendants, surely we can afford a few hundreds for baby parks. They're identical to 1/10,000th part of an inch. Yet this one costs 20% less than this. You know why?
Yes.
Yes? This one was made by a woman. This business of standing in queues all day has got to stop. It's unhealthy, undignified, and it's unnecessary. If the men had to stand in the queues instead of the women, they'd soon find a way of preventing it. And if the men can do it, we can do it.
A provision of 5,000 nursery schools would accommodate 280,000 children. This is what I want to have.
Diana, I want a word with you.
Yes?
We want you to speak for us in the debate on Wednesday.
Oh,
Is that all you've got to say about it?
of course, I'm delighted. Will I be good enough?
Well, we've been having plenty of practice lately. Besides, some of your speeches have been creating quite a stir.
Have they?
Quite a stir. By the way, you do know the party line on this, of course.
I think so.
Well, just so there shall be no mistake, they're only notes. You needn't use a word of them if you don't want to. They do make our point of view pretty clear. Well, good luck for your maiden speech.
Thank you.
You follow old Sir Cosmo, and that should make him very ready to hear you.
May I interrupt? Because I think this is rather and husbands and wives with no children in common.
Mrs. Wentworth.
Mr. Speaker, on this occasion when I address the House for the first time, I crave for my shortcomings that indulgence for which this House is justly famous. Most other members listening to me today will have passed through this same ordeal and will sympathize with me in my task. The government, in its wisdom, has placed before this House a bill which I think we can safely say, which I think we can all agree is comprehensive. That was the beginning of the speech I had intended to make today. I suddenly find I can't go on with it.
Go on.
I can't tell you why, except that I have a feeling that Mrs. Smith ought to be making this speech instead of me. You see, Mrs. Smith is the person who is vitally concerned with this bill. Few of us know her nearly well enough, and some of us scarcely at all. But if she is the one this bill is intended to help, it's up to us to find out whether it does measure up to her needs or not. I'd like to tell you what I know about her. Mrs. Smith isn't very interested in statistics because there are no statistics for human emotions or decency or ideals. In fact, if she were here, she'd probably just tell you quite simply that she's married and has 2 children. When the war started, her husband was called up. He's fighting now in the jungle in Burma. Her 2 children aren't with her either. When the Blitz started, they were evacuated to the country, so she's quite alone now. She doesn't like that very much. Then the government wanted her to work in an aircraft factory, so she got on with the job. She's working a 12-hour shift at the moment. She doesn't like it, but she's been told it's necessary, so she does it. When she came off her shift last night, she went home and did her housework, and when she'd done her housework, she put on her tin hat and went off for a night's fire watching. The previous night, a bomb blew in her windows, shook down her ceilings, and killed 4 of her neighbors. She was on time at the factory next morning. She writes to her husband every other day, and on alternate days, she writes to the children. Oh, and I forgot. In between whiles, she stands in queues for fish or oranges or traipses round the shops trying to find a pair of shoes for the children. Now, when Mrs. Smith has time to think, which isn't very often, she thinks of a happier, more pleasant world after the war. She wants quite a lot of things out of the post-war world. A decent home to live in, and in time for the day when Mr. Smith and her babies come back to join her, not 10 years later, mind you, but when they come back. She wants the best education in the world for her children, especially if she's not so sure they've been learning all they should while they've been evacuated. She wants a little money saved against her husband's return. And as long as she's doing a man's work, she doesn't see why she shouldn't have a man's pay packet at the end of the week. And that's not all. Mrs. Smith has earned the right to all these things and a great deal more. She's going to want an equal say in the government of this country.
And what does Mr. Smith say about that?
Order! Maiden speech!
On this occasion, he's prepared to let his wife have the last word.
Evening, Judy. Is she back?
No. She said she'd phone about 6. I'm waiting for her call now.
She's late.
She's at a committee meeting. They're having fun, I gather.
Yes, she's in the thick of the fray, I suppose.
I shouldn't wonder.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you. Here you go.
Is that how you like it?
Perfect.
There she goes again.
Yes.
Hello? Yes. She wants you.
Thank you. Hello, Diana? Yes? Oh, I'm very sorry. Oh, not at all. Can't be helped.
I've got a committee that'll probably go on till about 11. Oh? That sounds ominous. What is it, a deputation of my constituents? Well, look, why don't you have dinner and call for me afterwards? 10:30? All right, goodbye. Bless you.
Well, it seems the committee is sitting, so I'm stood up.
Yes, committees always come first.
Do I detect a note of bitterness?
Certainly not. I'm just sorry your evening's been spoiled.
That's all right. Soon get over it. Are you going now?
Yes. I just finished.
Well, you can see me safely off the premises.
Yes. Oh, I suppose I ought to be used to them by now, but I always panic and grab the first thing that comes to hand.
I very glad I came to hand.
So am I.
That's all that happens.
Yes. That's all that happens.
Evening, Mrs. Renford.
Good evening. You can come up if you don't want to.
I'd like to. I get you a drink?
No, thank you.
Mind if I have one?
Help yourself.
Thank you. Look, Diana, I'm only telling you what people are saying. I just thought you'd like to know. Whether you do anything about it at all is entirely your own affair. But don't blame me because I repeat it.
But you do agree with them, don't you?
Now, that's not fair. I didn't say so.
But you do think they're right.
Not necessarily.
That's just hedging.
That is not hedging. Just none of my business what you do.
I'm glad you realize that.
Oh, don't worry. You've made it abundantly clear.
Good night, Richard.
Good night.
Richard, why didn't you do that before?
Everything all right?
Yes, I think so. Oh, I must get my breath. You better have a drink. Might as well finish the bottle. Next month's ration will be in by the time you get back. I need one. Well, let's have it. I booked the table at the 400. The hire car will pick you up there at 11. Thank you. Your dress has come. It's in the bedroom. Nanny has unpacked it. Mr. Llewellyn's sending your flowers. I happened to find out, so I didn't order you any. The people at the church have been warned to keep it all as private as possible. Mr. Llewellyn's got everything else, special license, declaration, train tickets, and so on. Your luggage is gone except for the 2 small bags. Mr. Llewellyn's coming for those in a few minutes. And, I think that's all.
Thank you, Judy, dear. I don't know how I should ever manage without you. You couldn't have taken more trouble if it had been your own wedding.
It wasn't any trouble. I enjoyed doing it.
You know, you look all in.
All right, thank you.
I'm afraid I've been working you too hard. The holiday will do you good.
Yes. Holiday's all I need.
It's high time you stopped talking and came and changed.
All right, Nan, I shan't be a second. Now, look, don't forget. Nobody's to know anything about this until we get back. Don't worry, nobody will.
I hate to find a lot of press men waiting outside the church. It'll seem funny to be wearing an evening dress again. We did a lot of things in peacetime we think funny now. Is that the new ring?
Mm-hmm.
Like it? Oh, it's lovely.
Nan, you do think I'm doing the right thing, don't you?
Of course.
It'll be good for Robin, too.
Yes, he needs someone with a firm hand.
It isn't as though Richard were trying to take Michael's place. This is something quite different.
Don't worry, dear. He wouldn't have wanted you to be alone all your life.
Bless you, Nan. It makes me feel much better somehow.
I hope you'll be very, very happy. You deserve to be.
Hello.
Diana, is that you?
Who is it?
Ernest Foster.
Ernest. How did you find me here?
I've been trying to locate you for the last hour. Fortunately, we were able to track your secretary. Diana, I must see you at once.
Well, I'm leaving in 20 minutes. I've got a train to catch. Won't it wait till I get back?
I'm afraid not.
What is it?
Diana, I've got some very
Don't tell me there's another government crisis.
This isn't a political crisis, Diana. It's a personal one.
What? What? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'm afraid you and Richard won't be able to go away.
Go.
Listen, dear. You know the Russian advance has overrun several prison camps lately.
Yes?
Well, in one of them, they've discovered several British prisoners. People of whom we've no record, whatever.
Alistair, do speak up, will you? This line's dreadful. I can't hear you properly.
I say, in one of them, they've discovered several British prisoners. People we thought were dead.
You mean?
Yes, dear. Michael's one of them. I had a word with the department before I left. It seems the doctors wanted him to stay in hospital for a week or two, but Michael wouldn't have it, insisted on coming to London.
Ernest, there's nothing very much...
Oh, nothing serious. Just complete exhaustion, malnutrition, nothing else, nothing that rest and peace and quiet won't cure. But they say you ought to take it easy. You oughtn't to be worried by anything for a bit.
It's all right. He won't be worried by anything.
Oh, thank you. Look, would you leave these open or would that be too much for you?
No.
I liked your hair better the way you used to do it.
Oh, did you? Seem too young somehow.
Too young. But you're not very old.
I feel it.
Never mind. Looks very nice the way it is.
So good to have you back. I can hardly believe it's true.
How's Robin?
Oh, he's fine. He's grown.
So I imagine.
He's very excited.
Oh. Yes, I suppose he would be.
Don't worry, darling. No one's going to fuss. You're very thin.
Yes, I'm horribly gaunt, I'm afraid.
Never mind. We'll soon fatten you up.
Make me sound like a Christmas turkey.
There's only another minute to go. Train gets in at 4 o'clock and the taxi's going to meet us at the station.
Good. What did you do when you thought I wasn't coming back?
I tried to fit in my life as best I could. It wasn't easy.
I don't suppose I thought it was.
We're starting.
Yes, we're starting. All over again. What's happened to Harry?
Well, he was called up ages ago. Alice has been running the garage for him.
Where is he?
Italy. He's just been wounded.
Alice? I didn't know that. I am so sorry. Is it anything bad?
It's his legs, I think. I don't know any more than that.
Do you want me to make some inquiries?
Oh, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, but he'll write to me. I expect.
No, stop. Stop the car. What's happened to the gates?
Darling, the government. Salvage, you know.
Sacrilege, you mean?
Shall I go on, sir?
No, no, wait here a minute. I think I'll walk up to the house. I'll meet you there.
Don't tire yourself, will you?
I just want to see what else the government has taken from me while I've been away.
There's just a box of groceries, madam, and another large package.
Oh, they're both at the kitchen. Through that one.
Very good, madam.
Oh, Nanny, what a day. Where's Robin? She's over at the farm, I think. Is the Colonel? No, he left us at the gate. He wanted to walk up through the wood. I tried to persuade him not to. Did you tell Robin? Yes. I hated leaving it all to you, but what could I do? I had to tell him once before, remember? Yes. Bless you. Is the Colonel's room quite ready? Yes. You mustn't show you're worried about him. He's very thin and strained and tired. The doctors say he's suffering terribly from reaction. We'll take care of him. More than anything, he needs rest and quiet. He won't be worried from the village, I've seen to that. But those London papers, the telephone's been ringing every minute since the news got out. Miss Meredith got here just before lunch. She's coping with that. Oh, and, Mr. Llewellyn was here this morning. He said if there was anything you wanted him for, anything special, he'd come over at once. But he wouldn't be coming otherwise. Thank you, Nanny. He didn't leave a note. No.
Is this the one for the kitchen, madam?
Oh, yes, Venning. Oh. Nanny, this is Venning, the Colonel's new servant. He joined us today. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
That'll help a lot. I've got Mrs. Ames coming over every morning, and she's promised to come for an hour in the evening to help with the washing up. I don't suppose she will. Oh, I dare say Venning will help with the washing up, won't you, Venning?
Oh, anything to oblige a lady, madam.
All right. Not too tired.
No. Of course not. Where's the old cabinet gone?
Oh, we had it moved upstairs. We thought it took up so much room.
Oh. Altered the whole look of the place, huh? That table's been shifted, too.
Oh, no. Has it?
It's all so much smaller than I remembered it. If you only knew how many times I've imagined this. Well, that hasn't changed, anyway. Used to be white roses in that bowl.
There will be again. I'm afraid the garden isn't what it used to be.
So I noticed.
See, Thompson's been called up, and there's only old Ames to do everything now. I'll have the cabinet moved down again tomorrow morning.
Good.
Come to think of it, that table isn't right. We used to have the flat up. Darling, you have overdone it. Would you like to have your dinner in bed?
A very festive suggestion, I must say.
Well, the doctor said you needed all the rest you could get.
Been no rest for me to be cooped up in bed. Where's Benning?
Benning's upstairs. Can I do anything, sir?
Oh, Nanny.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome home.
Soldier's return, Nanny. Rather a quiet one. The trumpets had all sounded for him on the other side.
Don't get up, sir.
How are you, Nanny?
Quite well, thank you, sir.
Good.
He hasn't changed much, has he, madam? A little thinner, perhaps, but otherwise just the same. Yes, just the same.
A little more difficult. One can't be cooped up for years at my age and get away with it entirely.
No, sir.
Half-starved most of the time. Oh, don't worry, no. I'm not going to make a flesh creep with my lurid tales. I'll keep those for the House of Commons. As Colonel Wentworth entered the House, cheers resounded from end to end of the historic chamber. Or didn't they? Well, what about opening that case of drink, Nanny?
Yes, sir.
Poor Nanny. She's never forgiven us for growing up.
She's very devoted.
Fidelity is always touchy. Come and sit down.
I will directly. I must give Nanny a hand with that box first.
What are you doing with my rod?
I didn't know you were back. I never heard the car.
Never mind about the rod. Let's have a look at you.
I hope you're quite well.
That's very considerate of you. I might be worse. And what of you?
Oh, I'm all right, thanks.
How's school?
All right, thanks.
Good.
I expect you're feeling jolly tired. You like to rest. I think I'll just go and see what Mummy's doing.
No, don't run away. And don't let anyone mention the word rest to me. Tell me what you've been doing.
Nothing much. Just mucking about.
How long have you had the long trousers?
Since my birthday. I'm 13.
No grey hairs yet.
The war news is very good, isn't it? We seem to be absolutely rushing ahead everywhere.
Are we? What were the roses like this year?
There aren't any anymore. They're cabbages now.
There aren't any wrought iron gates either, are there?
Mummy gave them for salvage. She made a speech about it.
She did what?
Oh, I forgot. I wasn't to speak about that.
Why, was the speech such a rotten one?
No, it was jolly good.
You were stone then. Does she often make speeches?
Yes? No, I don't really know.
What's the mystery?
Nothing. I expect you saw an awful lot of chaps killed where you've been, didn't you?
I saw a whole lot who would have been happier killed, but... Well, tell me about the speech. It's much more important.
I don't know anymore. I think I'll just go and see what Mummy's doing.
Well, Mummy's gone to see what Nanny's doing.
I expect they're seeing about supper. It's made a lot of extra work, you see, you're coming home.
I'm sorry. Oh, Venning, did you come across an old brown velvet jacket?
No, sir.
In the cupboard?
No, sir, there's nothing in the cupboard.
Oh, Venning, You might ask Nanny whether all my clothes were given away, will you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Michael. I'm afraid they were.
And Lazarus came forth from the tomb.
Darling, I know you'll understand, but you see, when we thought...
Excuse me, madam.
It would have been rather selfish and sentimental to have kept them.
Sentimental?
All those people being bombed out. And...
Oh, it's perfectly all right. Can I have a bath, or has that been taken for salvage, too?
Of course you can have a bath. I'll run it for you myself.
Viola. Come straight back.
She's a peach.
Who?
What, Mrs. Wentworth?
I suppose you could call her that, yes.
I'll say you could. She's a proper eyeful and no mistake. I'll bet the boys came buzzing around that when they thought the governor was gone for good, eh?
If they did, she soon sent them buzzing off again.
No, I'm not.
You look just as though you were fast asleep.
I was thinking.
We brought you up some breakfast.
Ah. Nice light diet. When do we kill the fatted calf, Nanny?
Well, I think we could manage you another egg. Venning will give you his.
Oh, no nonsense. I wouldn't hear of it. Nanny, how long have I been asleep?
About 14 or 15 hours.
How did I come to fall asleep like that?
You were worn out, sir. You fell asleep while Madam was running your bath.
Well, that reminds me. Where is Madam?
Gone to the farm, sir. Up bright and early she was.
What on earth for?
Well, you see, food is harder to come by than it was before you went away. She's gone to beg for a chicken.
Beg for a chicken? Well, can't we pay for one?
Well, nowadays, it isn't a matter of whether you can pay for a thing or not. It's a matter of whether you're a friend of the butcher's or not. And if you aren't, heaven help you.
I tried to write you a note, but the right words wouldn't come.
There was no need for a note. I'd have understood.
I know you would. There's no good putting it off. We've got to talk about it eventually and decide what we're going to do.
There's only one thing you can do. You must stay with him.
I know you're right, but he's practically a stranger.
He's your husband.
You might have been that by today.
There's no need to remind me.
Oh, darling, I didn't mean it like that. Look, let's be logical about this. He is my husband. He's tired and ill, and having such a time of it trying to adjust himself to his surroundings.
We've all got to do that.
Yes, but he's so lost. He's like a child who's had a long illness. Suddenly started to get better to find that the world has grown up while he's been away.
So you're going to mother him?
That's right.
What about you?
I don't know, Richard. I just don't know.
Diana, you know I'll do anything you say.
You know I love you.
Yes. And him?
I'm not sure. At the moment, I just feel sorry for him.
That won't be quite enough, you'll find.
And I know he needs me desperately.
So do I.
Oh, darling, I wish I knew what was the right thing to do.
Great grief, what have they done to this room?
I beg your pardon.
I beg yours.
I'm Judy Meredith.
How do you do? I'm Michael Wentworth.
Yes, I realize that. I've seen your pictures.
Did you alter the room like this?
No, it's always been like this.
Indeed it hasn't. Do you live here?
No, I live in town.
Oh.
I only stay here when Mrs. Wentworth wants me to help her.
Oh, well, don't let me prevent you being helpful.
Thank you.
I'm merely looking for a book.
Can I help you?
Hmm? Oh, no, thank you. You go on helping my wife. I'll help myself. Ah. I beg your pardon. I'm afraid I'm disturbing you.
Not at all. There are some letters for you here.
Already?
Those are yours.
Those?
They're Mrs. Wentworth's.
Oh, really? She must be a very regular correspondent.
Oh, that's nothing, really. You should see the post she has in town.
In town?
Yes, at the flat.
What flat?
Don't you know about the flat?
No. Shall I?
Mrs. Wentworth will wish to tell you about it herself, no doubt.
No doubt. Tell me, are there any wrought iron gates at the flat?
Wrought iron gates?
Hmm.
No, I don't think so. No, of course not. Why?
I just wondered. Thank you for setting my mind at rest. Oh. Diana, is this true?
Yes, Michael.
So that's what Robin meant about your making speeches.
Yes. Do you mind?
Oh, I don't know yet. How long has it been going on?
Well, ever since we thought you were dead. Ernest suggested it.
The devil he did.
Is it so funny?
Oh, well, I suppose I shall get used to it, but you, of all people, you don't know the least thing about it.
Sure, this sounds very silly and conceited, but I have worked very hard, and I do know quite a lot about it now.
Uh-huh. What was your majority?
I was unopposed.
Why was that?
I don't know, no one else put up.
Oh, sub stuff, I suppose. Widow's weeds and all that, huh?
Yes, perhaps.
My husband gave his life for his country. To those of you who hold his memory dear, I would say this. Elect me in his place. I've always wanted to know what it felt like to be an MP.
It wasn't at all like that.
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sorry. Come and talk to me. I'm lonely. You see, I woke up and you weren't there. And I was frightened. You must be there. Always.
Don't worry. I will always be there.
Happy?
Mm-hmm.
You don't resent my being back?
Resent? Michael, what a thing to say.
Well, must be a bit of a bore having a husband that you believe dead suddenly appearing from nowhere.
Michael, why couldn't you have let us know?
Well, that's a long story. I'll tell you someday, not now.
All right.
you know what I'd like?
No.
I'd like everything to be just as it was before the war, as if the war had never happened. I'd like to watch a cricket match on the village green and walk back home to tea through the woods.
The postman says things will never be the same again. He's very mournful.
Shall you mind very much?
What?
Giving everything up and being a wife again?
Do you really want me to give everything up?
Well, yes, I think so, don't you?
Don't know, Michael. Why do you want me to give everything up?
Because I want you back again.
But you've got me. You'll still have me, whether I work or not.
I mean, I'll see you for 5 minutes as you flit from meeting to meeting.
Oh, it isn't as bad as that.
But it is. I don't want a wife who's forever making speeches and being Madam Chairman on committees. I want the wife I left behind. I'm not the only one either. There are thousands like me, millions. Fellows who in peacetime wanted nothing better than a pint of beer on the way home and pictures on Saturday night. They're coming back soon, you know. They want to come back to the life they knew and the woman they loved, not something different.
But, darling, things are different. I've got a job now, an important job.
The job happens to be mine.
Michael, you mean you want it back again?
Yes. Please. You look so lovely. All right, don't worry. Don't want to be a nuisance.
Michael, darling, I'm so sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry about.
You must just give me time to get used to your being here.
Am I as much of a stranger as all that?
No, of course. Yes, I think you are. It isn't easy to put the clock back 4 years.
You think I don't realize that? It isn't easy for me either.
Of course not. We're both in the same boat.
Are we rowing in the same direction?
Michael, it isn't that I don't love you.
Isn't it?
No. It's all the years between.
The years between. Huh. They've got a lot to answer for, haven't they?
I think I shall run up to London this morning.
Up to the flat?
Yes, I've got a lot of work I want to clear up, and I want time and peace to think. Maybe gone about 3 or 4 days.
I see.
That'll give you time to settle in down here and give us both time to think and adjust ourselves.
Yes, by all means, let us adjust ourselves.
Then maybe, when you're rested, you might like to come up to London and join me.
Thank you. I think I shall stay here, then you can join me.
Michael, won't you please try to understand?
I might ask you that.
All right. I'll give you a ring this afternoon.
Thank you. Hello?
Michael?
Hello, Richard, my dear fellow. How are you? Huh?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. When are you coming over to see us?
I'd like to.
Tell you what, I'll give you a ring sometime. Look, Michael, your son has just fallen in our stream.
Is he all right?
Well, yes, perfectly soaked to the skin, of course.
Do you think you could get Ames to bring over a change of clothes for him?
Yes, of course. I'll bring one over myself now.
No, don't bother to do that.
That's no bother. Looking forward to seeing you again. Be right over. Ah, hello there.
Hello, Michael.
The clothes.
Thank you. Doris!
I'm afraid young Robin's being rather a nuisance.
Not at all. He's perfectly all right. Oh, Doris, take these up to Master Robin, will you, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. No, you see, it wasn't very deep. No harm done. He just got soaked to the skin, that's all.
He seems to be mad about fishing.
Oh, I'm afraid that's entirely my fault. I encouraged him.
Richard, Diana told me...
She did?
Yes, about you helping her with business matters, money and all that kind of thing. And, well, I'm very grateful.
Oh, nothing at all. The least I could do. After all, I've been safe and snug here all the time you've been out there.
No need to have an inferiority complex about it just because your game leg kept you here. Oh, you've done a grand job.
Nothing compared with what you've been through. Michael, why didn't you let anyone know you were in that prison camp?
Because I was there under a false name. If the Germans had known who I really was, well, I don't suppose I should be here now.
Why?
I had some information they wanted rather badly.
Surely, Michael, after 5 years.
I wasn't in the prison camp more than half that time.
What? Then what on earth were you doing?
I was working underground.
Underground?
Mm-hmm. They sent me out to organize the resistance movement. They wanted someone who knew the countries and languages. It was rather fun while it lasted. And the beauty of it was that Jerry never did discover who was at the back of it.
Surely somebody must have known.
No, only intelligence. They worked the whole thing out, even arranging for my plane to crash. You see, I had to be well and truly disposed of so that nobody could connect anything with me. So I disappeared in an official puff of smoke.
You mean it was all planned from the start, before you left here?
Intelligence arranged everything.
You did it deliberately, knowing that the world would presume you dead.
Yes?
But surely you could have told Diana.
My orders were to tell no one.
Not even your wife?
Not even my wife.
But didn't you sometimes wonder what people at home were thinking?
Yes, my worst nightmare was dreaming that I'd come back and found Diana married to someone else.
What would you have done if she had?
I think I should have wanted to kill myself. Hello, Robin.
Hello, Dad.
Recovered?
Yes, I'm okay.
Oh, excuse me.
You seem awfully queer without Uncle Richard up at the house.
Oh?
He was always there before.
For what?
Before you came home.
Yours hasn't been such a bad war, has it, Robin?
We had several bombs. One only half a mile away. There's an enormous crater there still.
Yes, I wasn't thinking about the bombs. What were you going to do for the holidays if I hadn't come back?
Oh, I was going to stay with Dawson for this week and next, while Mum and Uncle Richard were up in Scotland.
Scotland? Where are they going in Scotland?
I don't know. Some quiet place, Nanny said. I only know they had to be back by the 29th because of a meeting in London. We were all three going up to the flat to have a week there, doing theatres and things, before I went back to school.
Seems selfish of me to have spoilt the plan. Bye, Richard. And thanks for everything. You coming, Robin? Ernest, I'm perfectly fit. There's no reason I shouldn't go back next week if I want to.
Yes, but you know, Michael, it isn't as easy as all that. There's no precedent that I know of. I have to go into it.
But there's nothing to go into. I'm the elected member of North Halsey. I went to the board at the government's request, and I've come back safe and sound. I want my seat.
Well, I'll have to talk to the Speaker about it. You've been presumed dead, you know.
Well, I'm not dead.
I know. But don't you think... Look here, there'll be a general election in a few months anyway. Why not take it easy? Diana's very popular, very efficient. Let her carry on till then.
I don't want to take it easy. I want my job back. Now.
What are you going to do when it's all over?
Asked for my old job back, I expect.
What was that?
I was a sergeant.
No, I mean before the war.
That's right, sergeant, commissionaire.
Where?
The Palladium, Finsbury Park.
Hardly seems like a man's job to me.
No? I'd like to see a woman who could do it. Can you see a woman in a uniform coat with medals all over her shouting, standing in the 1 and 9, seats at 2 and 6 and 3 and 6?
You feeling miserable too?
No. Why, are you?
Mm-hmm. It's Harry. Now he's come back, he won't marry me.
Why ever not?
Oh, he's terribly shot about, you know. He's lost a leg. And
Poor Harry. I'm so sorry.
it was an awful shock to me at first, but I made up my mind it wasn't going to make any difference. I said, I don't care how he comes back. He's mine, and I'm going to marry him. I thought I could run the garage, and he could look after the books and the phone, all that sort of thing, and we'd manage a treat. Now he says no.
But does he say why?
Yes. He says no one's got the right to come back and find things just the same as when they went away. He says the man I got engaged to doesn't exist anymore. And he's not going to be beholden to anyone.
What does he want to do then?
Oh, they're training him as a telephone operator. He says he'll sell the garage to me if I like, or if not, he'll sell it anyway and give me half the proceeds.
That's very generous.
I don't want half the proceeds. I want Harry.
Have you told him that?
Yes, but he's so blasted pig-headed. Can't see anyone else's point of view. I wonder if you'd speak to him.
I'll try.
Oh, thanks a lot. You don't know how important it is to me. You know, it must be nice to be like you, to have your husband home and no troubles.
Yes. Hello, Nan. Anyone home? The Colonel's out, and Robin. Mr. Llewellyn's waiting in the drawing room.
Mr. Llewellyn? Yes, he rang up. I told him you'd be home this evening. He's been waiting since 8 o'clock.
Thank you, Nan.
Richard.
Diana, I had to come. We can't go on like this.
I know. That's why I came back.
Why did you go?
I wanted to get away from everybody while I made up my mind what to do.
Have you?
Yes.
It's Michael.
No, it's you if you still want me.
Oh, darling.
I saw Ernest when I was in London. He told me all about Michael and what he'd done. You remember that day he went away?
Yes.
He knew then that he was going to be reported killed. When he said goodbye to me, and I kissed him and said, come back safe. He knew then that a week later I should get a telegram saying he was dead. And he never told me.
Perhaps he had orders not to.
Perhaps. Doesn't matter anyway. I can forgive him for that. It was a very brave thing to do. What I can't forgive is his keeping up the secrecy after he'd been captured. He could easily have let me know he was alive 2 years ago.
I suppose you were sure of that.
Of course, that's what finally decided me. I couldn't come to you before because I was thinking of him. I thought, he's been through hell, and he needs me more than Richard does. I didn't know then that he was perfectly capable of taking care of himself. Now I do know, and I'm ready to come to you whenever you want me. Richard, haven't you anything to say?
Diana, it's no good. I've got to tell you. It wasn't like that at all.
Well, what wasn't?
What happened to Michael? He couldn't have told you before he went away because he'd strict orders not to tell anybody.
Yes, but after he was captured.
Had he let anyone know then, it would have given away the whole show. All the work he'd been doing underground might have cost the lives of dozens of men he'd been working with. Well, he wanted to tell you all right, but he couldn't.
How do you know?
Michael told me. He told me that his worst nightmare was imagining you marrying again.
He said that.
Yes.
Richard, I'm so muddled.
Darling, have you told Michael about us?
No.
Don't you think you'd better?
I suppose so. I don't know.
I think you'd better put your cards on the table. Tell him we were going to be married. Tell him everything. I think that's the only way.
Oh, Richard.
Excuse me. Please don't go on my account.
Perhaps I'd better go.
No, I think you should hear the news. This may be an historic moment.
Read by Stuart Hibbert. In accordance with arrangements between the three great powers, an official announcement will be broadcast by the Prime Minister at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Tuesday the 8th of May. So tomorrow will be treated as VE Day, and the whole day will be regarded as a holiday. The day after, Wednesday the 9th of May...
Peace finds us ill prepared.
You mark my words, Charlie, this stuff will never be the same again.
Michael.
Yes.
I've just had a letter from Ernest. He tells me you're claiming the seat.
That's right.
Why did you do that without telling me?
Should I tell you everything? To tell me everything?
You mean about Richard? I was going to tell you today. He wanted me to.
Please don't bother. I'm not really interested.
You should be.
Why? I'm not the first man who's had his wife stolen from him while he's away at the wars. Huh? It's quite a common thing, they tell me.
Michael, you know it isn't like that at all. I agreed to marry Richard when I thought you were dead. Had been dead for 3 years. If you'd come back just 1 week later, he and I would have been man and wife. We've neither of us anything to be ashamed of, and Richard's behaved wonderfully. He's agreed to go away and leave me to come back to you.
I don't want anyone's charity.
Is that really all you have to say?
What else is there for me to say? That I don't think you're being fair to a man who's gone through hell for his country. That I can't live without you.
I don't want you to say anything you don't mean.
Well then, I've only got this to say. I love you.
It's a pity you didn't think of that the day you said goodbye to me.
I thought of nothing else.
But you didn't love me enough to tell me what you were planning.
I had to choose between my inclination and my duty. My orders were to tell nobody.
Not even your prospective widow?
Do you think it was easy? Do you think I didn't realize the risk I was taking? I knew perfectly well that if I was lucky enough to come back, I might find you married to someone else. I knew it was a gamble, but I thought somehow that I could gamble on you. Well, I gambled and lost. Don't let's hold inquest. We must go our own ways.
Very well, Michael. If that's the way you want it.
It is.
I'll go up to the flat this afternoon. Richard can join me there. Oh, about the seat.
Damn the seat.
I've already applied for the Chiltern Hundreds. I'll put up somewhere else again at the general election.
You must do as you think best.
Oh, Nanny, I'm leaving. I want you to pack all my things. I'll just take an overnight bag now and send for the rest of my things next week. Ask Benning to call for a taxi, will you?
Do you mean you're leaving the Colonel? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying.
Is this true, sir?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
But you can't do that. You can't either of you be so silly.
Too late, Nan. It's done.
What about Robin?
Robin will stay with his father.
Who's going to tell him? Oh, it's no use looking at me this time. Twice I've had to tell that boy his whole life's been changed around, and I'm not going to do it a third time, not for anyone.
His father will tell him.
Don't you want to tell him yourself?
Not particularly.
You say I'm an interfering old woman, but there's something else I want to say. I've never told you about this before because it hurt too much. But did it ever occur to you to wonder why I never married? I was going to be, to a nice boy, but he was killed on the Somme in the last war.
I didn't know, Nan. I'm sorry.
You've no call to be sorry. There are hundreds like me in this war as well as the last. Women whose men won't come back to them. But there are thousands more like you. Women whose men will come back to them. Men they didn't ever expect to see again. Men they didn't very much want to see again.
Nanny, that's not fair.
Oh, I know it isn't all one-sided.
There'll be thousands of men coming back who won't make allowances for what their wives have been through while they've been away. Men who'll expect to find nothing changed, even though they've changed themselves. But that's not the point. It's this. Somebody's got to start a little give and take. You heard what the Prime Minister said the other day on the wireless. He said nations have got to collaborate and have faith in one another if there's ever going to be peace. But if people like you can't do it, how do you expect nations to? Have you got so big you can't be a wife to your husband anymore? And have you got so important you can't bear to see your wife doing something just as well as you did it? Do you mean to say you're both incapable of working together?
Nanny, that's enough.
Yes, it is. Quite enough. I've said my say and I can't do any more. There's peace in the world again. It's starting today. But if you two are any sample of what's going to happen, then we might as well have the war again right away. Because we've lost the peace. Lost it before it's ever started. I won't have anything to do with it, do you hear? I won't have anything to do with it.
This is London. The Prime Minister, Right Honourable Winston Churchill.
Will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight, Tuesday, the 8th of May. And our dear
There's peace in the world again. It's starting today. But if you two are any sample of what's going to happen, then we might as well have the war again right away. Because we've lost the peace. Lost it before it ever started. Judy, give me some notepaper. Judy, notepaper. Give this to Richard when he comes. They look very happy, don't they?
Yes. It's probably because they don't know what's ahead of them.
But everything's going to be all right now, isn't it?
You really think so, don't you?
Yes, I do. Don't you?
I wonder.
You'll ruin your eyes if you don't stop reading and come to bed.